So welcome everyone. My name's Phil Braun. I'm the Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions. I'm here with the rest of my admissions team. Flynn Linehan is the admissions counselor. So is Tom Roberts and Avery Tamchin as admissions counselor. And Lisa Shaheen is our Director of Financial Aid. So all of us are here to answer questions you might have. We're going to go through a little bit about the BA, BFA program, Parsons Paris, and we have the pleasure of the former director of Parsons Paris here. And he actually, at the end of this presentation, is going to say a few words about Parsons Paris, which we're very excited about. And then we're going to open up to questions that people can ask at the end. My colleague Sarah in the back has a microphone. She can walk that to you. Just please raise your hand, and she'll bring the microphone to you. If you have specific questions, we just ask that you hold your questions to the end. So we're going to start with the BA BFA dual degree program. The BA BFA degree dual program is a partnership between Parsons and Lang. Lang is our liberal arts college, which they mentioned this morning, so you'll have the opportunity to study in one of the many liberal arts degrees we offer: psychology, global studies, liberal arts, politics, history, are just to name a few. And then you'd also have the opportunity to pursue your Parsons degree. Again, it's a 5-year dual degree program. It's not a double major program. Students fulfill in this program 90 liberal arts credits, and then 78 studio art credits. In additional, Parsons will require art history courses to fulfill the entire 180 credits. In this program, it's very rigorous. You'll be taking 18 credits per semester. We encourage students who are looking into this program to consider the academic rigor when they're looking into it, but it is an amazing opportunity for students to mesh both liberal arts with art and design and fulfill their passions in both areas. So there is a particular curriculum for the BA BFA degree program. In their first year, they'll be studying alongside all of the other Parsons BFA students. And then in the second and third year, they're going to take more Lang courses that are integrated so they can fulfill those 90 liberal art courses. Students are encouraged to stagger their senior requirements to complete their Lang capstone course in the senior thesis at Parsons. And the application itself differs slightly from the Parsons regular application. You apply to the new school within the Parsons application, and then you also select, instead of just Parsons or just Lang, you would select the BA BFA degree, and you have to complete all of the same requirements that are required for Parsons, but you have to specifically answer the BA BFA degree essay, which is why you're interested in both liberal arts and art and design and how you think that those things will complement each other. So you can talk a little bit about some of the courses that you might know at Parsons or Parsons as a school, and how you think having a liberal arts degree will enhance your educational experience and provide more opportunities for you as a student and beyond. And students can receive a split decision for this degree. So what that means basically is you could be offered admission to just Lang, or you could be offered an admission to just Parsons, or alternatively you would be offered admissions to the BA BFA degree 5-year degree program. My colleague Flynn here is going to talk a little bit about Parsons Paris, and you'll hear more in-depth information from Jason Paul, our former director of Parsons Paris.
Hi guys. So as Phil mentioned, I'm just going to introduce you quickly to our Paris campus. This is a really exciting opportunity for Parsons students to make the most of studying in a European city. We have many degree options. These are the degrees that we offer. It's a much smaller campus than here in New York City. I believe we have about 150 students there, so much smaller than our campus here. It gives you really great small classes and individual attention from your professors. We offer our BFA in Art, Media, and Technology. We have a BFA in Fashion Design and our BBA in Strategic Design and Management. The first program there is offered only in Paris, and it is a digital arts program with an emphasis on creative coding, communication design, and fine art. So it's a bit interdisciplinary in that respect. It's really exciting that you can actually complete your entire 4-year degree program in Parsons Paris. If you want to do that, you just apply through the common application as normal and select the Paris option in one of those 3 degrees that I mentioned. We also offer some really unique opportunities to study in both campuses. For example, we are rolling out a dual degree program, a dual city program that would allow you to do half of your studies in New York City and half in Paris. And then, of course, we have study abroad options, provided that your major allows for a study in both campuses. So it's a really exciting way to study in an international location while still being part of your home institution. So this is an image of Paris. We encourage students to make the most of whatever city they're studying in, be it New York or Paris. So we encourage students to engage in the city through their educational experiences and through their art making. This is an image of our gallery. There's definitely spaces there on campus for students to show and share their work. We do offer housing in Paris. So this is an image of one of our dormitories. I believe they're all apartment style. So it gives you that experience of being able to live in Paris in sort of a residential setting. So they're really beautiful campuses. And as I mentioned, it's a very small campus, so you have really intimate access to your faculty, to your peers. So it's really an exciting place to be able to really engage with your faculty one-to-one. So now I'm just going to dive into the cost of attendance at both Paris and New York. And I will mention that we have Lisa Shaheen here, the Director of Financial Aid. So she'll be able to answer some of these questions about financial aid in more in-depth. So this is the cost of attendance for our Paris campus, and you can see that we're noting tuition as well as your campus housing. And this is the cost of attendance for our New York campus. You will notice that the tuition rate is slightly different for each campus, and that is just to reflect the difference in European pricing models. So that is something that you'll note here. And all of this is on our website as well, so you can delve more in depth into our tuition and campus housing options. So definitely, I'm just going to briefly mention FAFSA. If you are a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen, definitely do your FAFSA by the suggested deadlines. You can actually do it as early as October 1st this year using prior year data, which is really great. It means that we have that information sooner, meaning that you can get your financial aid package sooner. So definitely do your FAFSA. In terms of merit scholarship, this is something that all students are eligible for just through the admission process. So you don't have to fill out any additional paperwork to receive a scholarship. Merit aid is awarded on the basis of your application itself, so that includes your academics as well as your artistic merit. And typically we communicate any scholarship award through your admission decision letter, so you should know when you're admitted. And international students are also eligible for merit aid, so that's a great thing to note. So now I'm just going to open it up to Q&A. I didn't. Yes, and again, Lisa is here from Financial Services, so if you have any questions about that. We also have our admissions staff, so general Q&A about applying. So yeah, let's open it up now. And Sarah has the microphone at the back here, so definitely speak clearly into the microphone as we're recording this.
Does anybody have any questions? I can bring you the microphone.
Sarah, I just wanted to give a rundown of what the financial aid office does. Can you guys hear me? Yep, okay. So I just wanted to let you know we have a financial aid office staff of 15, and we serve all of the populations, graduate and undergraduate. We offer federal, state, institutional aid. When it comes to federal aid, what we're speaking of is federal loans, grants, and work opportunities. We offer counseling for our new, prospective, and continuing members of the community. We counsel via phone, email, and in person. No appointment is necessary. Even if you have not applied to the school, if you need assistance with filing your FAFSA, we are available. U.S. citizens that file the FAFSA, as Flynn said, it is available as early as October 1st. It may be a little confusing to some folks, so we are very, very happy to guide you through that process. All you have to do is email us, call us, or drop in during our office hours, and we can guide you through the process. We can assist international students as well. As Flynn said, international students don't have to file separately for financial aid. They are automatically considered for financial aid upon admission. But any questions you might have about external resources, or any other ways of financing your education, we are available for that type of counseling.
And I just wanted to say one more thing. We have the pleasure of having the former director of Parsons Paris here today, Jason Paul Mccarthy. So we would love to hear a few things from him. He can talk intimately about the experience. We also actually have a student here who was our Parsons Paris expert, and he is also very familiar with Jason Paul, and they can talk about a little bit about their experience at Parsons Paris. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and thanks for inviting me and coming in to speak to you and see you today and talk a little bit more about Parsons Paris. But I think I really wanted to talk a little bit about how New York and Paris are a little bit different, and that different type of experience is an advantage to you as a Parsons student because you can experience both of them. You can decide to start in Paris and come to New York, or you can decide to start in New York and come to Paris. And why is that important is because they're two different cities. I have a fashion background, so fashion in New York is very different to fashion in Paris. And you might decide that your career projection or your career objective may be in either New York or Paris. One important thing to think about when deciding your campus or where you want to be is the type of setting, the type of experience in the classroom. Obviously in New York, it's a bigger institution, you have more selection in regards to courses, and in Paris, it's a little bit more focused and couture, bespoke-like. And again, as a student, you may work better in one or two of them environments. And it's a good thing is you can test either one of them as you become a Parsons student. And Alex, who is one of the students from Paris, is actually here at the moment on mobility in New York. So he's experiencing that great opportunity for you to be a Parsons student both in Paris and in New York. Obviously, because of both campuses are in different cities, you get different types of experiences and opportunities that you don't get in each other, which makes it also very exciting. In Paris, you get couture from a fashion point of view. You get a much more Parisian, tailored cultural European setting. And obviously in New York, you get a much more American, I would say, a much more image-based business strategic focus on your studies. So again, when you're starting to think about the campus, starting to think about where do you want to be as you go through Parsons, which one of them settings maybe focus on your next journey to where you want to be. I'm also here to ask questions. If you have any questions, please fire me from both New York and Paris. I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to give you my card, and if you would like to email me or want any further information about Paris or New York, I'll be happy also to assist with that as well. So I don't know if, Alex, you want to say a few words about your experience in Paris and New York? I'm putting him on the spot.
Yeah, sure. By the way. Yeah, so as Jason Paul mentioned, I think that the opportunity to study in Paris as well as New York is really relative to this difference in environment between the two cities. And I think that's really helpful to students, especially those studying art and those kind of around art and design, in that it really influences how you work, how you interact with the community. And I think that Parsons is primarily concerned with community and with society in general and how we're interacting with it. So I think being in Europe, being with America, it's amazing. And like I had an amazing experience in Paris, and I'm now kind of seeing it in a new perspective in my own country now, which is strange because I'm studying abroad in my own country, which is interesting, and it's I'm really lucky to have that opportunity as all Parsons students have. So I think.
Yeah, and I think just, also the faculty and the professors you get and their background, their different experiences, their different contacts, whether it's in America or European, also give you a better flavor of the art and design subject and a much more rounded experience. So, we've realized, and Alex has been through this sort of transition, that you get one type of experience in Paris and one type of experience in New York. Then once you have them together, you can decide which one is the best for me as a student. Where does that next exchange of when I leave Parsons going to be beneficial for me in New York or Paris? And it could be based on the company you want to work for. It could be based on the city you want to be involved in. It could be based on many things, but you have that opportunity at Parsons, which I think is one of the amazing things that we provide as a school and institution.
So we want to open it up now to questions. If you have a financial aid question, just state that first, or if it's a admission-specific question, or if it's one for Jason Paul about Parsons Paris, about the experience there, just so that we have clarity as to who to direct that question to. And Sarah, my colleague here, has the microphone, and she'll walk around. Just please raise your hand.
Okay, we have a question right here.
I wanted to know if you have fee waivers for the applications to Parsons?
Yeah, so when you're applying through the Common Application, their Common App has its own fee waivers. So you'll just need to select from one of the options that you feel best fits for you, or if multiple options fit you, to waive the application fee for the Common App.
I have a question for like the dual program. Let's say like you do the dual program in your first year and you just you don't think it's the right fit. How would like that transition of not being a dual program go?
So are you referring to the dual degree BA, BFA program? From my understanding, students can choose not to pursue the dual degree. If you're doing the BA, BFA with Parsons and Lang, you do start by doing the Parsons first year curriculum. So you will be having that same first year experience as the other students. It's really after that first year that it opens up and you start having your liberal arts integrated more with your studio curriculum. So in short, you can change that. There may be some courses or coursework that you need to make up with any degree change, but it's possible to change your mind. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Over the summer, I did a summer program with SVA. Would that be part of, like, can I add that to the admissions, and would that affect my the exception in any way?
Yeah, so if you have taken any coursework that's for college credit, so if your summer program at SVA was for college credit, then I recommend sending a transcript so that we can consider that credit for transfer. In terms of admission, we definitely like to see that you're engaging outside of the classroom, that you're challenging yourself, and that can be through summer programs or, different studies. So certainly include that on your resume and let us know about it. It's great to see that experience.
I have a question. In one of the web pages that I was researching, it says that there's within institution financial aid, 94% of the student body receives that aid, which seems like a large number, and that average aid is greater than $13,000 per student. That seems like a large tuition, but then 94% of people are receiving $13,000 or more. I mean, how accessible is that within institution aid?
So when it comes to institutional aid, we differentiate between merit-based scholarship and need-based scholarship. Merit-based scholarship is something that's decided upon admission, so the admissions office actually makes a recommendation on your behalf as to how much scholarship you may be eligible for. We then take that information and combine it with the results of the filed FAFSA if you are a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. The FAFSA takes into consideration what resources you have and gives us an idea of what your financial need is. We then offer need-based scholarships based on the results of the filed FAFSA. So the combination of the two scholarships can be, the average is a little more than $13,000. It can go as high as approximately $25,000. We combine that with federal aid, which can be grants as well as student loans. And for New York State residents, you may qualify for a state TAP grant, which can range anywhere between $1,000 and $5,000. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, what's the TAP grant?
The TAP grant is actually for students that have lived in New York State as residents for at least 1 year. So if you're moving here to go to school, you wouldn't necessarily qualify for a TAP grant. But somebody who has gone to high school in New York State or has had a residence in New York State for at least a year before applying to the school may qualify for something called the TAP grant, Tuition Assistance Program. Now, that is also a need-based entitlement program. So when you file the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, your name is automatically sent to the state, the Higher Education Students Corporation, So they may consider you for the TAP grant. So you don't necessarily have to fill out a separate application first for the TAP grant. If you have a New York State address on your FAFSA, your name will be forwarded to the state. And what the state does is then they give you financial aid based on your income as well as your enrollment. So if you are attending at least 12 credits or more, you are eligible for, you may be eligible for TAP. There is also an entitlement program called Aid for Part-Time Study, which has the same type of criteria as far as living in New York State, but it's offered to part-time students, students that are taking 3 credits or more.
Going back to pre-college classes, do you also take APs in college classes actually given in high school?
Yeah, so if you are taking AP exams, we can consider those for transfer credit as well, as long as you have a score of 4 or 5 on those test scores.
And pre-college classes of, let's say, college religion or math, do you take those?
Well, with dual enrollment, so for a student who's like doing like, we've seen students doing like associate degrees while they're in college, we're looking at those as they're doing those to complete and earn their high school diploma. But
College given by other universities, but given in high school.
like, so just a few courses or, yeah.
Taking college math and religion.
Okay.
And child development, did you take those classes, those credits?
We would need a transcript from the college. It can't just be noted on your high school transcript. But if you have college credits earned at a regionally accredited university or college, then those are eligible for transfer. So we'd have to review them, and if admitted, the student would get a transfer credit summary, and that would let you know if those were transferred.
Is anybody else?
If you were to do Parsons Paris, would you have to learn French, or are you, like, you don't have to learn French at all?
Sure, I was just about to tell you that. Yeah, so obviously we're an English or American, whatever you want to say, speaking institution. So whether you're in Paris or you're in New York, the language is still the same. Of course, in Paris, the environment, it's very, beneficial if you can speak the language. We definitely, try and offer as many French classes. We very much promote that and encourage that as a language because, and from a fashion background, the language of fashion in Paris is very, very different to the language of fashion in New York. So it's really important part of your education that you find terminologies and aspects as such as that. But no, you'll be English speaking and taught in English.
And for the BA and BFA, if I were to do like global studies and like, I don't know, like art, like fine art or something, and if you have to go like outside the country to do like the global study part, how would it affect the Parsons like art part?
So just to mention with regard to the dual degree, you can't do that option if in Paris because they do not have the Lang campus or curriculum there. So I just wanted to point that out. Are you kind of inquiring about studying abroad if you're enrolled in global studies? Because we do have a wide range of study abroad options aside from Parsons Paris through exchange partner institutions. So you could check that out. So there are definitely options if you're not enrolled in a program that is offered at Parsons Paris. Does that kind of help answer your question? Awesome.
I would like to say just one thing, is make sure you do think about both Paris and New York as a experience, whether you're doing an art design subject or whatever, because I think it just globally, internationally, as we look out into the world, it's becoming much more important for you to be involved in that discussion as a student in your studies and in your art and design practice. So, make sure you utilize the resources that we have. And if I was a student, I'd be amazed and fortunate to have that opportunity. So make sure you do reach out to see what can be possible for you, both in Paris and in New York.
If there's no more questions, we appreciate you coming today and learning more about the new school and Parsons. We'll be in the room for a little while if you have any individual questions for us, but thank you so much for your time, and really, really hope you enjoyed your day today and learning more about the new school and Parsons. Thank you so much.